One of the things I wanted to have you guys on to talk about is I wanted to play with the idea of immortality again, because it's something that I've always thought about, and even discussed with people since I was little, and it's just this topic that seems to keep cropping back up, especially in light of new technological advances. Reason it came into my mind recently is because I've been hearing about this gene editing technology called CRISPR. Have any of you guys heard of CRISPR before?
No.
That thing in the bottom of my refrigerator?
No. No.
Sorry, I had to get that out there.
You could probably do some gene editing in there if you leave vegetables in there long enough. At any rate, so CRISPR, it stands for Clustered Regularly Interspaced Short Palindromic Repeats. Right. They're the hallmark of a bacterial defense system that forms the basis for CRISPR-Cas9 genome editing technology. Basically, what it is it gives people the ability to choose a certain gene that you want to add into your genetic code, or remove a certain gene that you want to remove, and you inject this bacteria that goes in and kind of it acts as a virus and attacks your genetic code and actually can change stuff around. People are using it to, there's been cases of preventing cancer, curing cancer and stuff. It's just very interesting shit that they're doing with it, or the possibilities of what they can do with it. And it seems to be that they're really pointing toward the possibility of us being able to edit our genes in such a way that we can have a much, much longer life and or even immortality. And I just wanted to throw that to you guys and see what you thought about, the idea of immortality, if not even just, would you even be interested? And if so, I mean, is it something that, are we playing with fire here, or what do you think?
I'm gonna live forever. Just putting that out there right now. Okay, that was weird. I can do that too.
I had a hair on my mic, dude.
It's that beard. I don't know. That's an interesting topic.
It's a bad idea.
What, to live forever or to mess with his beard?
Both.
To live forever if everybody's going to live forever.
True.
Because then people will keep having people and the world is already cluttered.
I think almost all the ideas out of my mouth there. It's if you live longer and you still procreate, unless you can genetically engineer your dependency on food or water or what have you, eventually all natural resources will deplete. It's just not sustainable.
Well, that does make sense. You could get into a big discussion on free market principles in that case, where eventually as shit starts getting super expensive, then people will back off and they maybe won't have as many kids. Seems to be in countries with higher IQs. They tend to not breed as much, especially if there's tough economic restraints. You tend to be able to think ahead and say, "Hey, I probably better not have kids," stuff like that. There might be restraints on it. But I thought it was pretty. I don't know if you guys have seen the show. It's called Altered Carbon on Netflix.
Yes.
You have seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, don't ruin it for me because I've only watched the first 5 or 6 episodes. But
I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so you're ahead of me.
Good. So basically, it plays with the idea that we're actually technologically advanced, and they're able to take our everything about us, our personality, our memories, our just everything, our genetic code or whatever you have, and they put it on like a little chip basically, and they can insert it into different bodies. Your body itself is they call it a sleeve, and you can take these as long as your stack it's inserted in the back of your neck. It's called a stack, and as long as that is intact, you can still live. They can take that and put it into another sleeve, whether it's a genetic clone of yourself or somebody else who's died and or wants to. I don't know exactly all the specifics of the world, but it was a really interesting. I would definitely recommend watching the show if you're interested in this topic at all. It's freaking amazing so far, but it just kind of it has this setup where the people who are like super wealthy are the only ones that are able to afford perfect genetic clones of themselves. So they end up they can live forever. And some of these people have lived for 300 plus years at this point once the technology was created. And it kind of interesting how they play with the dynamics, the family dynamics, how that might look in a rich family, or, you know, how it might look in as far as the underclass and everything else. I don't know what problems would come about, but I mean, at the same time, people want to live forever, and I don't think you're going to be able to stop it. So it's a matter of, okay, whether it's right or wrong, you know, how do we adjust to it if that is something that we have to think about? Sorry, I'm looking at my comments section. I got my friend Stacy says, I'm looking forward to this life ending. I sure don't want to do it any longer than necessary. Not great. Maybe we could do it better. Maybe we could do it better next time. Or if you knew you had more time, I don't know. Maybe there's some decisions would be made differently. What do you think about that?
I almost wonder how reclusive you'd have to be to adopt this kind of technology, because it wouldn't be instantaneous, I wouldn't think. So the people that would get onto this, like in this scenario where the only super rich would be able to afford it, they're outliving everyone that they know, and they're just going to have to accept that that's the norm. It becomes almost an incentive just to not talk to or be with anybody. It'd just be a hermit living in full isolation, self-imposed, and at that point, what's the point of immortality?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I would look forward to it myself, just because I have so many things I want to accomplish in the world, and so many things that, you know, we can improve on and make better. And like,
Right.
it's like if you have a mission in life that says that, you know, these things I'm trying to change about the world are going to be multi-generational changes. Like, I will never get to see the fruits of my efforts ever, because it's going to happen in multiple generations. I think that would be so cool to be able to start and have and know that you have the time to take that time to make those changes and see them through to the end. Like, that would be amazing. Like, a lot of the stuff you see in the world is going to have to be a generational change, as far as in the way we live life, and the way we govern ourselves, and the way we parent and stuff like that. It's just not going to happen overnight. But I just think that's, for me personally, that's what I'm looking forward to, is something along those lines.
Yeah, it'll definitely help answer some of those questions, like, you know, the founding framers being able to explain why we have to have grizzly bear arms mounted on the wall. So that's what they're talking about, bear arms, right? just to be able to, and that's just to make light. But yeah, that's just to, but it's more to provide I'm agreeing with you in that that I think it would be neat to not only see those things to fruition, but to help guide them, and to explain, well, when I set this in motion, this is what I meant it to be. I think think would help. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, because, you know, you think about like the forefathers who started this country, and then everybody's sitting there trying to interpret what did they mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could just ask the guy, like, hey, what did you mean by this? And take him out of his cold storage for a little while and say, hey. So Stacy brings up an interesting point. Just think about the super rich people who would take advantage of this tech. We'd never get rid of people like Hitler and Stalin, etc. I don't know. I mean,
Well,
sure, you would have good and evil.
Yeah.
That's life.
Regardless of whether or not we're immortal or not. I mean,
well, yeah, you're going to have that. I mean, that's the human condition, regardless of whatever the mortality is. You're going to have.
Hey, you could go back and Sorry, you could go back
No, you're good.
and see if Moses or whoever it was that saw the burning bush and got the things, and you could read the real ones, or go back and say, what did that bush actually say to you, and what were you on? How high were you?
I think somehow we ended up talking about time travel rather than immortality creep. But yeah, I get the point though. I mean, anything that people are saying now that is of any importance. I mean, maybe we can actually be able to reference the source. Is I guess what the point is here. Just want to throw this in there. Visionaries like Elon Musk, along with other companies chasing immortality, are forcing us to reconsider our own mortality. What would life look like divorced from death? And what price are we willing to pay for another 100 years of life, or maybe even 1,000? And if that's the case, then what does it mean to be human? That's a big question right there. That's a big question, because I know, Philip, you said something about it. That's the human condition.
Right.
As far as good and evil is life and death also a human condition? I don't know if it.
Well, that whole talk is subjective, right? It is that way because we know it to be that way. If that were not to be the case, then is that or isn't that same way?
Right. Like, would we start describing the new paradigm as the human way, or
right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.